Okay. Well, thank you very much, my dear friend. It's a real pleasure to be here today with you. And of course, thank you very much for inviting me to take part in your conference in Japan. We are very, very happy to have signed an agreement with J CLIL, and I'm sure the future will be very fruitful for all. So this is the first time we have communication, a relation. So I think the main thing is to first salute the audience and then make a short presentation of what the Association for Bilingual Education is. So allow me, if you want, to share the screen, and because I have prepared a small presentation for the audience to be able to follow in a better way. Well, the Association for Bilingual Education has three main objectives. One is to be a bilingual education observatory in Spain. In Spain is a country that has 17 different regions, and we want to know what is happening in each of them because there are important differences between them. So we follow how bilingual education is being developed in all the regions, and we try to support bilingual education. Since we have 17 different regions and different models, different programs, we promote a bilingual national education framework. We would like that all students in Spain could have the same kind of bilingual program and receive the same kind of education. And of course, we are very interested in the improvement of the quality of any bilingual program that we have in our country. So these are the three main objectives of the Association for Bilingual Education in Spain. What do we do in order to reach our goals? Well, we have different activities that we can resume in some of them. We organize every year an international conference on bilingual education, and that international conference moves all around the country, and each year it takes place in a different region. So teachers from different regions can access the conference, and because mobility sometimes is difficult for teachers. So we try to bring the conference near them. This year, the conference is going to take place in 2 weeks' time in Jaén, where, of course, we will count on you to be here with us, and we will be very happy to have you here in Spain in our conference. Another part of our activities are studies and research with universities. We have signed agreements with 17 universities up to now, and they take part in the conference. And of course, with some of them, we research on bilingual education, and we publish studies on the same subject. We offer professional development to teachers. This is a free activity where teachers from anywhere can attend one monthly session of professional development. We have teachers attending these sessions from many countries in the world, not only in Spain, Portugal, the United States, Brazil, France, England, Turkey. We have plenty of teachers that join this activity and attend the professional development sessions. And of course, as we are interested in improving the bilingual education in schools, we have developed an improvement program for schools, which I'm not going to explain here now, but which is very useful for schools to know what they are doing well and where they can improve. And of course, we have created a seal of quality for bilingual education, in order to have schools who meet the requirements of the seal, they can be distinguished with this seal and show to the parents that the quality of the teaching they offer is very high. It's a very high standard quality. Once said that, this is a short presentation of the association, but I think it's enough to know it. Please visit our webpage. Well, in Spain, the first language, the first foreign language, is compulsory in the school system since the age of 6 to the end of the schooling age, the age of 18. And on top of that, almost all schools in Spain start to teach the first language at the age of 3. So any Spanish student is learning a foreign language since the age of 3 to the age of 18. That means 15 years learning a language, normally 3 hours a week. And the second language in Spain is optional. It is optional. I'm going to show you what the Eurydice, which is you probably, I don't know if you know Eurydice. Eurydice is a network in Europe that studies all the education in all the countries and compares everything. So according to Eurydice, this on the left side, you have the starting age of the first language. And we have here Spain. Oh, sorry. We have here Spain on the left. So in Spain, everybody starts in a compulsory way at the age of 6, first language. And in Spain, the second language is not in here. It is down here because it is optional. Okay. So one language compulsory, one language optional. In order to give you some data to let you know how we are in Spain about languages, the first language in infant education, we have 81% of the students in infant education learning English. 81% in infant education, which is from 3 to 6. If we go to primary education, we have, of course, 100% of the students because it's compulsory. All students in primary have to take English. 0.4 take French and 0.1 take other languages, but mainly 99.5 is English. If we go to secondary education, we also have, of course, 100% because it's compulsory. All students in Spain are learning, well, in this case, it's 98.4 take English, 1.4 take French, and 0.2 take other languages. And in baccalaureate, which is the upper secondary, we have, which is not, education is not compulsory at that age. Education is compulsory up to 16. So this is not compulsory, but from the students that are in baccalaureate, 95.8% learn foreign language, continue learning a foreign language. So we can say that almost everybody in Spain is learning languages all over their schooling ages. If you want to know something about the second language, which is optional, which is not compulsory, you have that in primary, we have 20% of our students taking a second foreign language, apart from English, apart from the first, they have 20% study a second language. In secondary education, 39, nearly 40% of the students take a second foreign language. And in baccalaureate, we have 24% of the students. Just to give you an idea of what the situation is in Spain. If you want to see the regions, that's the average in Spain. A bit more than 40% of the students take a second language, mainly French, of course, because English is the first language. And you have all the regions in Spain and the percentage of students taking a second foreign language. What is the real situation in Spain? How did bilingual education, the real situation in Spain according to languages? Well, Spain is a very special country. In Spain, we do not like evaluation. We do not like to know what happens. So the only thing we have is what comes from abroad. For example, the only evaluation we have in Spain is PISA, that you know perfectly because Japan takes part of PISA also. But in 2012, the European Union made a survey on languages, and it was the European Survey on language competencies, where 14 countries took part. And the idea was to know what was the competence level in languages of students aged 15. So then when they were at the end of secondary lower education. So according to that survey, which I say was in 10 years ago, and it's the last one, any other has been made later, so we don't have any more data than this. The results were that at the age of 15, we had 60% of our students, 60% of our students with a very low level, with a pre-A1 and A1. Levels, as you know, in the common European framework are divided in 6 levels, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So we have a pre-A1, which is a very, very, very low level. And the result of the European survey was that Spain was in a very bad position, better than France, I have to say, but which is good for us. But 60% of our students were with a very, had a very low level of competence, and just 12-13% had levels A2, B1, and B2, which is most of them. A2 is low also for 15 years, right? But that was the situation of Spain in 2012. We know that bilingual education has changed this, but we don't have data up to now because there is not any national or international survey that can confirm what we know. But we have the lack that we started bilingual education. This is a map of Spain. And you probably know that in Spain we have many regions, and some of them have 2 official languages. That makes that bilingual education a bit more complex in those regions, because it's not the second foreign language, but the third language. So we cannot speak about bilingual education. Those colored in green, gray, orange, and blue are the regions that have 2 official languages. Normally, the Association for Bilingual Education tries to concentrate on monolingual regions that have only 1 language, Spanish, which are in yellow. And we work mainly in those regions because bilingual education there is really bilingual education, is 1 foreign language added to the mother tongue. So this is the situation. When we speak of bilingual education, normally we associate bilingual education to CLIL. CLIL, which is an umbrella term, and you know very well, is the methodological approach used to teach content in a language, in a target language. It is very important very important, but it's only a part of what we understand as bilingual education. Bilingual education is much more. CLIL is part of bilingual education, is only what we do in the schools, in the classes, to teach content in a foreign language. And I'm going to try to give you an idea or an overview of what bilingual education is. First of all, we have to say that bilingual education is something very serious. And it's serious, not because we want to say it, but because it's education itself. It's not a program that we add to the school, but it's the education of the school that is addressed. So what we do is we educate our students, but instead of doing that in Spanish, for example, part of the curriculum is taught in English, but it's the education itself. So it's very important, it's very serious. So in order to do it well, we need to design a program, a good program that assures that the students are going to receive the best education, and we have to implement that program. We have to take care of the implementation of that program. And of course, when we have implemented it, we have to manage it. The administration must be sure that the program develops properly. So it is something quite important. And of course, at least in Spain, when we speak of bilingual education, we immediately think of quality education, because bilingual education is an added value to the education. It's something that you add, something extra that you offer to your students, and that it will be very, very useful for them in the future. So bilingual education in Spain started long ago. I'm going to tell you how and when. We have now bilingual education in all the regions in Spain, and we have bilingual programs in many, many schools. I will give you the data in a moment. What was the origin of bilingual education in Spain? Well, we started a project in the Ministry of Education and the British Council in 1996. So very, very long ago. This project started 26 years ago, but it has not developed. Apart from this project, in 2004, Spanish regions started their own bilingual program. Okay, so this one, the one from the Ministry and the British Council, has not developed. It keeps some schools, but not many. And each region has started its own bilingual program. So we have regional bilingual programs. And of course, I don't know if it's because of the Spanish character, but if we have 17 regions and the ministry, that means that we have 18 different programs of bilingual education in Spain. We have not been able to have one single program for all, and each region has developed its own program. So I'm going to show you what happens when you start a program in education. As I said, this is the starting age in primary education. This program starts at the age of 6, first year of primary education. And the first region started its program in 2004. It was the region of Madrid. Then some regions were started developing their own program. And let's say that in 5 years, which is in education is not much, most regions had already implemented their bilingual programs. One did it in 2013, I mean, much later. And finally, the Ministry of Education created its own bilingual program in 2016 and started it. What does that mean? in order to see the importance of education in society. Those who started in primary in 2004 started secondary education in 2010. That is 6 years later. Primary education is 6 years in Spain. And so on. So every region that started according to the year, their first cohort of students reached secondary education 6 years later. So those who started here in the last program are starting the secondary education this year. Okay. And if we continue in the time, we see that those who started in 2004, that started secondary education in 2010, went to the university in 2016, started the university 6 years later, in 2016. That means that if we are in 2022, we already have 3 cohorts of students who started in 2004, 5, and 6 that have finished their studies, their degrees, and their masters. And if we go to the last one, we see that those who started in 2013, the first students, the first cohort, will reach the university in 2025. And those who started in 2016 will reach the university, will go to the university in 2028. What does that mean? That there is a very, very big gap between students in the country. You will have regions with a high number of students with a high level of competence, of linguistic competence, and you have other regions where you will have many more students with that level of competence, and they will reach it much later. So we have an education gap between regions. Well, if we go to the implementation of bilingual education, I have to say that a bilingual education program has to be a top-down program. Probably once it's already working, there will be some bottom-up synergies, but now at the beginning, it has to be a top-down program. If not, it won't work. Any program has to have requirements. It's not something that can be offered to any school. Schools have to be asked for some requirements. And schools that want to take part of the bilingual program have to be selected. It's not just, I want to be bilingual and I become bilingual. No, it's much more serious than that. We must be sure that the school is going to be ready to offer a good bilingual program, and students will take benefit of it instead of losing part of their education. So, what requirements can we set? Well, first, the school must apply. It's not something that you must simply want to. You must apply. There is an application for schools. Sorry, there must be a commitment. And this commitment, which is very, very important, has to be from teachers, from parents, and even the staff. Everybody in the school has to be committed to become bilingual and to support the bilingual program. Teachers in the school need to have a proficiency level in order to teach in English and to be able to teach their subjects in English in a proper way. So I don't know if you know the European Common Framework. C1 is a high level of competence. And of course, there is also a commitment from teachers to receive in service training. So teachers must commit to be trained, not only at the beginning, but during all the time they are working in a bilingual program. And once you have assured this, you must start a selection procedure. See how schools are going to join the program, what the requirements exactly will be, and how we are going to do that. On the side of the administration, what does the administration need to do? Well, first, to design a program. And any administration that wants to have bilingual education must design a program, a whole program, to see and prepare everything for the bilingual program to be implemented. The administration has also to decide how schools are going to join the program, because each region decides it in a different way. So there is a selection procedure that has to be set. The administration must decide what training is going to be offered to the teachers before starting a bilingual program, and what training teachers will receive once they are working in a bilingual program. The administration must make sure that the necessary resources are allocated for the program. It's not very, very expensive, but a bilingual program needs some resources, economic and human resources. Of course, internationalization is a very important subject that has to be also addressed by the administration. How we are going to internationalize our schools, our students, our teachers. So this has to be also prepared to support schools to internationalize. And of course, the administration has to support the whole program from the very beginning till the end. That is, it has to take care of any problem that can arise in the implementation of a program and support the schools, the head teachers, the teachers, and the program. Okay? So these are important things that have to be taken into account if you want. So what I can say is that bilingual education is a very clear example of teamwork, because it needs the work of everybody. If a school becomes bilingual, everybody has to be involved and everybody has to work together. They have to collaborate. You cannot have part of them doing something and others doing a different one. They all have to collaborate. Of course, once they become bilingual, it's because they have a common project that they are going to develop. They have a goal for teachers, a goal for students, and a goal for the school. The school is going to improve. Of course, it's a challenge. They are going to start a program in their schools. They're going to have their kids receiving education in a language that is not their mother tongue language. So it's a challenge. But there is no doubt that all these get a better education. The idea is to offer a better education, which normally is given in private schools, but we are talking here about public state schools. So we address public schools and we want to improve the education in public schools. This is quickly just to show you how bilingual education has increased in the last years. In orange, you have the year 2009-10, and in blue, the year 18-19. And you can see the number of the percentage of students in schools in bilingual programs. So this is in national, and this is per regions. Okay, so the increase has been very, very big. In the middle, we started with 5.8. Now we are in 26.9 of the students in 2018. It's 4 years ago. These figures now are much better. This is the increase, the percentage of students in bilingual programs. in all languages and in English. So it's just to show you the increase of bilingual, the evolution of the percentage of students in bilingual education in Madrid, in the region of Madrid. In blue, you have Spain, and in orange, you have Madrid. Increase of the percentage of students in bilingual schools. So what is the situation in Spain now? Well, we have bilingual education everywhere, in all the regions in Spain. We have 1.5 million students in schools, in bilingual schools, receiving bilingual education that are being taught part of their time in English. We have more than 4,000 schools, really it's more than 4,300 schools offering bilingual programs in Spain. And of course, bilingual education is still growing because it is demanded by families. So the situation is very good for bilingual education in Spain. But of course, we are selling bilingual education as something very good, but there is some criticism also, and we do not have to hide anything. We must accept critics and see if they are right or not and deal with them. So what are the main critics we receive in bilingual education? Well, some say that the teachers and students linguistic level is not good. Well, probably this can be right in some regions where the requirements for the teachers is a very low level of competence. Of course, if the level of competence of the teacher is low, you cannot expect that students will get a very high level. So the level of the teachers will limit the growth of the program. So this can happen somewhere, but it's not it's something we don't agree with, because we know that teachers are increasing their and improving their language, and students are acquiring better and higher levels of competence. Well, some say that since you explain them things and you teach them in English, they know less. They do not learn everything. Well, we have surveys and studies that show that this is not true. Simply, as simple as that. Some say that studying in two languages reduces the knowledge of the students in general. We also have studies that show that this is not true. We have made some studies and surveys here in Spain. And probably the main criticism and the most important one, which we agree, is the evaluation. There is no evaluation in Spain, I told you at the very beginning. So only the region of Madrid evaluates its students. All students in Madrid take an exam at the end of primary and at the end of secondary, and we know what linguistic level they have. But the rest of the regions do not evaluate their students. So they have programs work, parents are happy, students are happy, teachers are happy, but we don't know what they know. So what we need is to make sure that evaluation appears in all regions, and we are working hard for that. Leadership in schools. It creates, it promotes leadership in our schools. It increases the enrollment rate. Bilingual schools have more students wanting to go to study to those schools than those that are not bilingual. I do not have recent data, but at the beginning of the program, when we started the program in Madrid, bilingual schools had 30% more of enrollment demands just because they became bilingual. Some schools were ready to close, and not only they continued, but they had more and more students. Bilingual education improves the school climate because everybody is involved. Everybody is interested in what is happening in the school. Parents are normally, in general, not all, but in general, happy because their students are receiving an extra education that if they do not have it at school, they have to pay it outside. They have to take their kids to private academies to learn languages. So they have that in public schools. It improves the linguistic competence of everybody. So, and we speak of linguistic competence. We also speak of culture. We have language and culture go together. And of course, it improves education. We are ready to offer a better education to our students. What's the future? Yeah, we are finishing now. What is the future of bilingual education in general? Well, for years, politicians have worked on quantity. Their goal was to have more and more and more schools, more bilingual schools, many bilingual schools, because parents want it. But we have not been, taken into account always the quality. So we need now to work on the quality of the programs. We have many programs, we have many schools, we have many students, and now we must improve the quality of these programs. So we have to improve them. In order to improve the quality, we have to improve them. And of course, we have to continue making research, and we have to convince regions to evaluate. So this is what we think we have to do in the future, and that's what we are trying to do. We are working for that. I mean, we are in contact with regions, and we are trying to convince them that they have to work on quality, that they have to evaluate, and that we have to continue making some research on bilingual education to see what's happening and how we can improve it. And I think that's all. Here you have my email address, the webpage of the Association for Bilingual Education, and the webpage of the conference, THIEB, that is going to take place in Jaén now in 2 weeks. And of course, I'm ready to answer any question you have. If you may have today, in the future, you have my email. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.